Shocked by such a strong fighter, teacher Yao Yuanfei shouts that he doesn't remember such a student in the 2nd grade. The opposing coach, Brother Feng, grins and explains that Wang Jinhei is a new transfer this term. Then he mockingly reminds teacher Yao about the bet, saying she'll lose and have to buy dinner for the whole opposing class. Realizing he was tricked by his opponent's secret weapon, teacher Yao clenches his fist in fury. Fearing even Lin Zichen can't defeat this beast, he still tries to look brave for his last disciple. Putting a hand on Lin Zichen's shoulder, he promises it's his turn now. He says, "Do your best. Don't worry about winning. Experience is what matters." Lin Zichen just smiles and reassures his teacher that he will win. It leaves you speechless. Watching Lin Zichen step into the ring, Wang Jinhei looks him up and down, acting unimpressed. He finds his opponent too weak and is amazed that his class's last trump card is someone like that. On the sidelines, Shen Qingqian, Chu Rui, and the elite class girls hurl insults at Wang Jinhei. They call her a spoiled brat and cheer for Lin Zichen. Wang Jinhei says he's tired of these nicknames and will give Lin Zichen an advantage by letting him have 10 free hits. Because he wants to stop Lin Zichen and his little fangirls from saying he's bullying his younger opponent later. Lin Zichen happily accepts this proposal. Wang Jinhei says to come with full power. Lin's first strike lands right in the giant opponent's stomach. It's so powerful that Wang Jinhei starts spinning in midair and slams into the ground, knocked unconscious. Both classes are in shock. Silence has fallen. But the massive, tearful cheers of the elite class soon drown out the noise. They're celebrating Lin Zichen's magnificent victory. A little later, Wang Jinhei slowly regains consciousness. Completely stunned, trying to figure out where he is and what's going on. Then he mutters that this result is illogical and unscientific. After Lin Zichen's victory, the 2nd grade teacher approaches Yao Yuanfeng. The elite class teacher is amazed by Lin Zichen's power, comparing his one-punch knockout of Wang Jinhei to the former prodigy Wu Tiancheng. Yao Yuanfeng says Lin Zichen is strong, but not at Wu Tiancheng's level. It says Wu Tiancheng was a monster who terrified the principal in 1st grade. Hearing this name, Lin Zichen approaches them and asks who Wu Tiancheng is. Yao Yuanfeng excitedly recounts how, years ago, the legendary Wu Tiancheng shocked school leaders by defeating the entire 3rd-year elite class alone as a freshman. The teacher continues by sharing Wu Tiancheng's incredible statistics. Running 100 meters in 6.12 seconds, a 3.96-meter vertical jump, and a 650-kilogram one-handed deadlift. When asked if he's impressed, Lin Zichen smiles and says a little, but secretly thinks Wu Tiancheng's peak is only equal to his own power back in 6th grade. That night, the class celebrates their victory at a restaurant. Teacher Yao Yuanfeng raises a cola and clinks glasses. With joy, she announces that thanks to Lin Zichen's victory, the teacher of Class 2 must honor the bet and pay for everyone's meal. The whole class raises their glasses and applauds Lin Zichen's performance. At dinner, Lin Zichen is surrounded by classmates, including Hiyu and Shuru. They're now school celebrities. In a panic, Shin Qinan quickly tells Lin Zichen he needs to use the restroom and rushes off. Lin gazes at Zichen, seeing that despite the changes, his urge to pee when nervous or excited remains the same. 2 girls, classmates, are gossiping in the restroom. Someone's complaining about how Shin Qinan treats Lin Zichen like a slave, acting like a butler who's constantly refilling drinks and peeling shrimp. The other agrees and can't help but wonder, how did a weakling like Shin Qinan make it into the elite class, right? Of course, there had to be a sycophant. And they're calling the relationship a disaster quite ruthlessly. Because the talent gap will supposedly blow them away. Right then, Shin Qinan overhears this, his face showing zero morale and visible pain. But he's not hiding. He's facing them at full throttle. Like a slap to the face for scared girls, he's shouting, "I'm not his sycophant. I'm his childhood friend." On the way home that evening, Lin Zichen notices that Shin Qinan seems quite down. He's asking if there's a problem. And he leans over, telling the story. His mother always said that he wouldn't wet the bed when he grew up. But he says it so angrily that he still has to wear diapers every night. Looking at him makes me feel handicapped. He says he doesn't even have bladder control. Lin Zichen is upset and tells Shin Qinan seriously that he is not disabled at all. Shaking him gently by the shoulders, she explains that bladder control isn't actually complete, but it's a superpower. Jen Shannon looks puzzled but hopeful. Is it really a superpower? They ask. Lin Zichen confirms it, saying your water talent is part of this power. Curious, Chen Shannon asks if he has any superpowers as well. Lin Zichen confidently replies, Of course I do, just like you. Shin Shannon excitedly asks, What about my power then? Lin Zichen is hyping things up. It's definitely going to be a very powerful force. Right then, a team in hazmat suits blocks their path as police warn the public via megaphone. Back off, we're fighting rats. The sounds of chaos can be heard inside the building. A man in an apron is attacking a swarm of mice with a broom, trying to save them from the team. The team keeps saying stop, shouting not to kill my brothers. His face contorted with pain and rage, he keeps shouting. Giving in to his rage, he's charging right at the team. He's screaming that he'll fight you to the death. Watching everything unfold, Shin Ixingen asks Lin Zichen if the man has gone mad. Lin Zichen agrees, he's probably not in his right mind. Even if he's sad about the situation, some people are just like that. He says let's go home. That night, at Lin Zichen's house, he and his family are watching a worrying news report. The news reports a young female teacher went missing last week and still hasn't been found. His mother Jean Wanson is in a panic. It says the fourth young woman went missing this month. His father Lin Yin-sung immediately corrects him, adding, No, the fifth. The news continues. The missing women are all young and attractive. Women are being warned not to go out alone at night. Worried, Zhang Wanson warns his son, Don't leave Shin Shin Kan alone. Lin Zichen smiles and says, Okay, I'll keep an eye on him. Meanwhile, at a public security office in Shanghai, the man taken from the marketplace is in custody. A doctor in a lab coat is talking to the police. The police are asking the doctor if the man is in his right mind. The doctor can't say for sure, but says she tried to talk to the suspect, and he didn't say a word. The police were surprised because the man was just screaming nonstop in the market. Suddenly, someone now hunched over, surrounded by a dark, terrifying aura. Before her terrified eyes, the man begins to transform. It's evolving into a massive, crazed, monster-like rat. Terrified by the horror, he screams and grabs his police radio, calling for backup. He needs a cyborg team, immediately. He's shouting that the man in the interrogation room turned into a giant, crazed creature. A giant crazed rat is making a mess. The police fire shot after shot, but the bullets barely slow him down. As the police pull back, a female officer calls it in. HQ confirmed all cyborgs are on other assignments. The director adds gloomily, Backup won't arrive in 10 minutes, and their ammo won't last that long. Realizing they can't fight directly, the director orders his team into the vehicle. New plan. Lure the monster to the bathrooms and buy some time. The policewoman jumps into the van and starts the engine. The other cop is preparing himself inside. They're tearing through the city at high speed. The giant rat leaps from building to building, tracking them down. The female officer orders them to move faster to buy the cyborgs some time. The minibus climbs the mountain road and enters the tunnel, but the creature won't stop. It's approaching fast with a terrifying roar. It opens a huge gap full of teeth. It rams the back of the monster truck, causing it to lose control. The vehicle flips in the air and crashes violently. Inside the overturned minibus, a female officer hangs upside down, looking injured and hopeless. He's thinking at that moment. In the end, we failed again. A giant crazed rat screeches in victory atop the wrecked van as a massive explosion engulfs everything. Help is here. A female cyborg with short purple hair and sleek armor hovers midair, locking onto her target and raining down powerful purple missiles. The bullets hit the monster, creating a series of fiery explosions. He gives the kill order, and when the smoke clears, the cyborg lands on the blast-damaged road. He finds a large tunnel and realizes the mouse dug its way out. He notices the monsters are getting smarter. But he sees mangled flesh and blood on the ground. He deduces the creature is badly wounded and couldn't have gone far. He thinks he's lucky to be tracking you. The scene shifts to the city skyline at 3 a.m. Lin Zichen isn't training in her room. She's writing, thinking about her progress as a web novelist. He's written every day for over half a month, and his novel has almost reached 200,000 words. More importantly, the profit has already exceeded 10,000. He thinks about the future of the novel, noting that he's still in a new book phase. He's excited about how much money he'll make when it's officially released. He can't sleep because of the royalties from his novel, so he decides to work out. He finds an abandoned, unsupervised alley to test his latest efforts. He's happy with the progress while working. He dropped his 100-meter dash to an incredible 3.43 seconds, and his vertical jump reached 7.22 meters. He feels if he keeps developing at this rate, he'll finally gain a divine body. An unsettling gnawing issue that ruins the training. He turns and sees a shadowed figure hunched in a dark corner. That figure is a disgusting rat-like thing, a rat man. It's gnawing on a human arm. When the creature sees Lindsay Chen, it begs for its life, asks for forgiveness, and explains that it was just very hungry. Strangely, when satiated, he promises to come and pay his respects every year. Lindsay Chen looks on in horror, realizing her creature is a rat man. It links this image right to that mutant giant rat story. A fierce anxiety grips him inside. Could this creature be that giant monster? Now in a more human form, but just as terrifying. Realizing the great danger, Lindsay Chen decides to inform the police. But just as he's about to leave, the rat man panics, thinking he's the next meal. He stammers as he explains to her there's no food, and go off to devour other heavens. Before Lindsay Chen can even wonder what's going on, the creature stands up. He leaps off the street walls in the blink of an eye, bouncing off the sides at crazy speeds. The rat man pounces, screaming that he wants to eat human flesh. Fear of hunger is crushed. The attack is so fast that Lindsay notices. No time to run. When no other choice remains, he faces the monster head-on. As the creature charges, Lindsay lands a kick right on its jaw. The impact sends Mouseman flying, then he slams hard into the ground. The monster struggles to rise, clutching its bleeding chest. Lindsay looks on in disbelief, wondering how such a weak guy could have this much power. Dazed and wounded, the rat man looks at Lindsay Chen, stunned by her unexpected power. Before he can recover, a stone suddenly hits his head. He jumps at the chance. Lindsay Chen isn't giving the monster a chance to respond. It's raining rocks like crazy, with incredible speed and precision. The rat man is overwhelmed by the stone attacks and can't defend himself. A few minutes later, the shelling stops. Lindsay Chen is out of breath at the end of the street, watching where the creature collapsed, noticing it's no longer moving. He approaches with caution and sees the attack is far more devastating than he thought. The mouse man has turned to ash, literally turned into a pile of bones. Lindsay Xian touches the bones, wondering if it's truly dead. Blue energy flows in. System confirms the dead mutant rat's life force has been absorbed. Codex progress increases by 7%. This time, he regrets only absorbing 2%, whereas he got 5% from the burnt corpse. Park attributes the changes to the levels of the king gene. It depends on how much each pervert consumes. He realizes it's almost morning and finds there's nowhere to stay. He might head home. Seconds after Lindsay left, the purple-haired woman stepped into the empty street, standing on evaporating bones, wondering who killed the mice man. The scene shifts to a dark building where a sinister ritual is taking place. A hooded cultist carries an unconscious woman to a large red glowing summoning circle. He puts it in the middle, kneels down, and offers it to his lord, the rat god. Frightening, multi-lensed, red eyes stare back from the darkness. A deep, angry voice asks why she's the only woman, accusing him of starving the cultist. He complains that this isn't even a mouthful and threatens to sacrifice the cult member. The cultist falls to the ground in fear, desperately trying to explain. Frightened on the ground, he explains that young women have been cautious lately, rarely going out at night, and always in crowds, so they're hard to catch. The giant shadowy mouse god looms over them, his deep voice commanding that if the women are too difficult, they should catch the young men. The cultist quickly agrees, and suddenly a large piece of raw, bloody meat drops to the floor. The cultist greedily devours the meat, while the master thanks the rat god for his blessing. The grossness peaks when you eat. Large red tentacles rise from the summoning circle, wrapping around the unconscious woman and lifting her into the air like a monster. The multi-eyed red god opens its mouth and swallows him in a single gulp. Sounds of chewing and crunching echo through the building. After his meal, Lord Red God gives his final cold order. He says next time don't catch the common ones. He's complaining that their meat is too bitter. They want the meat of nobles. Those swimming in luxury think their flesh will be softer. Lin Zichen is doing private training with Shinchin at home to improve his fighting skills. He acts like her personal coach in a workout, fixing her form. He adjusts his arm position and shoulders, explaining how to generate more power and maintain balance. After fixing the position, he tells him to attack at full power. He lunges at it with a steady fist. He easily catches Lin's fist and praises the increasing power from his angle. Then he catches the follow-up kick, points out the flaw in form, and demonstrates the correct technique. He physically puts his leg into the correct position, and at the end of the intense session, an exhausted and sweaty Shin Xinghan collapses to the floor. He's catching his breath, saying he's really boosting his combat power despite being tired. While still kneeling, an eager Shin Xinghan asks Lin Zichen if 3 times a week is enough or if they can train every day. Lin Zichen explained that his body wouldn't endure high-intensity training every day, calling it unnecessary. Shin Yixinghan agreed and will stick to the current schedule. Just then, Lin Zichen's phone vibrates. As it's being taken out, Shin Xinghan leans in curiously, asking if it's an exclusive scoop. He looks at the screen. 2 major headlines appear. First, Kishin's company announces they'll offer free treatment to girls with disabilities caused by mechanical modifications. Second, the more shocking news. A genius from Peking University successfully mixed the Bintel spider monster gene, breaking the record for the youngest dual gene fusion. Lin Zichen's eyes widen in shock. Reading the second news, he instantly realizes it's his rival of many years, the capital's big shot. Most people can't perform gene fusion until they're adults. Because a young body can't handle the backlash of monster genes, there's a heavy risk of mutation. But even this genius successfully underwent his second gene fusion at age 18. Lin Zichen is amazed by his genius-level physical talent, and wondering if gene fusion is truly the best path to power. Back at home, Lin Zichen is busy with her new career as a web novelist. With her incredible writing speed, her novel becomes an instant hit, with a comment section full of fans. One calls him a typing monster for writing 50,000 words on the first day. Lin Zichen thinks that with his advanced intelligence and sacred wisdom roots, he can write 10,000 words per hour after a month of practice. With this efficiency, writing takes only an hour a day, leaving plenty of time for training. His father, Lin Yinxingjarker, praises his success. Lin Zichen estimates that if he keeps a steady plot flow and a pace of 10,000 words a day, he can earn 50,000 yen in his first month. He adds that as the novel's word count grows, earning 100,000 yuan a month won't be a problem. Lin Zikun is very happy with an income between 50 and 100,000 yuan. Financial worries about unlocking the exotic monster book are ending. Designating precise target. He'll spend his first 2 months' pay on opening the giant wild eagle book. The scene shifts to the martial arts class with teacher Yao Yuan Fong. It's announcing a competition session to measure progress. Lin Zichen displays crushing power, tearing the field apart. He easily defeats all his opponents with powerful kicks and punches. No one can land even a single blow on him. After the session, her teacher presents her with the prize money. Lin Zichen thinks about the successful day. He didn't just earn 888 yuan credits, he also gained vital experience. This points to his survival of the fittest success. While Lin Zichen dominates, Qin Jingyan's results are as lackluster as ever. He's at the end of the line. Her friend Su Ruwei tries to comfort the upset girl. But practicing with Lin Zichen has clearly paid off. Now he has the power to fight back. He proudly shows off his survival skills. While Lin Zichen shines at the front, Qin Xinghan's results aren't as impressive as usual. It landed in the last spot. Her friend Su Ruwei tries to comfort her, but working with Lin Zichen has truly paid off. Now he has the power to fight back. A flashback flashes back to his previous match with Wen Yuntong, the second worst student in class. He literally flipped and lost in under 3 seconds. But this time, Qin Qinghan managed to hold on for a full 3 minutes. He even overdid it and fought back with a few punches and kicks. Smooth as silk. Martial arts instructor Yao Yuan Feng burst out laughing. He really saw the progress and tipped his hat. He said, "Keep going," and supported me, saying I need persistence. Once the sparring ended, the teacher gathered the class and dropped a bombshell announcement. He said their class will face off against the grade 2 elites within a month. The goal is to take down everyone except their top 3 fighters. Alright, good luck with your work, the class roared. Confidence hit the roof. Seeing this warrior spirit, the coach swelled up with pride. A month just flew by, crazy fast. Lindsay Chen's web novel blew up. When checking the bank book, the balance showed 89,000. He ran to the market with his new money immediately. The monster's finally going to get the meat. Called out to the cashier. "Some wild giant eagle meat, please." The cashier told her about the promotion. "Since we have the money anyway," he said, "if you get 100 kilos of meat from us, there's a 5% discount." He thought for a second, then decided. It's not taking it right away this time. Because it would be smarter to stay on the sidelines and save money until I gain exactly 100 kilos. It would probably be next month. The next day at school, Chin Chin On told the story excitedly. They've set up a great stir-fry station in the cafeteria. People say the chef's food is the bomb. Lin said okay, and followed right after. They arrived there. A few chefs are working feverishly. Both of them fainted from the amazing smell. They grabbed their food, sat down at the table. Lin tripped. Good thing we got here early. The queue has already started to get long. He called me a psycho. An argument over line cutting broke out mid-meal. One student accuses the other of cutting in line. The other claims his companion was trying to take his spot. The debate is heating up. The first student says that saving a spot is cutting the line. The other one keeps resisting. Shin Zihan recognizes the voice. Look at line, he's saying, "Hey you," to our friend who's fighting. They're asking if we should go and see. Lin glances over, calmly thinking it might not be necessary. Hey, Yunin has that aggressive stance. He guesses he probably scared the man off already. But he's wrong, of course. Hey, the student Yun is arguing with his standing his ground. He looks down on him and tries to bully him. Hey, Yu is turning all of a sudden. Because he called his student friends. Gang leader Hey Yuya is asking, "What are you doing here?" The others are feeling confident. He says we don't even have a job. We're stealing turns, he says, so treacherously. Hey, Yu's going crazy and sending them to the back of the line. But he knows the numbers are big. But he doesn't give up. He's spreading his arms, trying to block them. With that loud cafeteria in his head, why is nobody stepping in? The question comes back. Shinix Anon says we are worried about the table. The line is pointing. Our friend says they're bullying Heiyu. Just as the thugs are about to pass Haiyun, someone slaps the leader on the shoulder. Lin Ziken, that shadow, that dark face is threatening. He says please line up properly in an orderly fashion. The bully turns and smiles defiantly at Lin. He's asking what you'll do if you refuse. Lin doesn't get into physical fights. He puts on a sly smile and takes out his phone. They're making a bold threat to report you to the bully. The leader looks down on us. Is that a complaint? It answers from the throat as shame. While Heiyu gives a mocking look, Lin calmly says, I think skipping the line is more embarrassing. She's moaning that she's not ready to complain. The bully gang gives up and walks away in a huff. The scene suddenly shifts to a luxury villa in a wealthy neighborhood of Shanghai. At the secret gathering of the rat god cult, the leader sits on a throne-like chair in a black hooded robe, addressing his followers. An announcement's being made that sect member Xiao Cheng has died. He lost his mind at the marketplace. He lost his life for provoking the security team. Another cult member turned up their nose and said this was good. The leader introduces a new young man afterwards. He's going to replace Xiao Cheng. The rat god conveys his terrible new command. Now they will only capture and sacrifice the noble elites. When God's fine commoners have tasted too much pain, this new order causes concern. 2 members object. Capturing the nobles was too risky. Because an ordinary person's disappearance goes unnoticed, but a noble's disappearance causes great trouble. The leader suggests targeting the wealthy but ineffective merchant sons. Then he turns his attention to the newcomer. He says he shouldn't attack nobles since he's still new. Instead, he's going to catch a handsome youth to sacrifice to one of the rat god's helpers. The young man, face hidden under a hood in the shadows, confidently accepts. It promises to present not just any handsome man, but the handsomest in the city. Back in class, Hyu is still furious about the canteen. Lin says she's investigating the students behind the incisions. Second year, third grade, so it's the same honor class. The high-end class they'll be competing with. Hyu says she can't believe the upperclassmen are so rude. As for Lin's, leaning against the cabinets, she's fiddling with her phone. He says good grades have nothing to do with being a well-bred person. His face changes. A news notification catches his eye, reading that another wealthy heir has disappeared. This is supposedly the fifth loss. The kidnappers haven't asked for ransom. Recalling the ragdoll cult's order to capture nobles, he foresees a dark end for Lin's. The cult's involved. The day of competition has arrived. Students have gathered in the giant gym with 2 fighting rings. The atmosphere between the classes is tense. The bullies are giving Hyu those dirty looks. He's making defiant gestures at Hyuta. Both classes warm up as the match begins. Just like last time, Shinsegan won the first fight. The opponent from the honor class attacks immediately with high-level, sudden, and hard kicks. Shinsegan blocks the kick, but the senior's power is devastating. His defense crumbles, he hits the ground, and he's defeated. The upper-class girls don't care about the other freshmen. For instance, they're eating those mini rolls one after another, without even kicking them. The freshman's losing streak ends when a muscular girl with short hair storms in and kicks her senior opponent to the ground. But this joy doesn't last long. The next upper-class girl with long red hair immediately takes control of the game. An amazing opponent defeats 9 freshmen in a row within 10 minutes, including 3 men. Now there are only 4 fighters left from the first class. Lin Zichen, Wang Shou, Ji Lu Gang, and Hyu. The situation is grim because the second-year honors class only lost 5 girls. Plus, their trickster guy hasn't even fought yet. Their teacher, Yao Yuan Feng, clenches his fist, looking desperately at the power gap. Fewer options. Yao Yuan Feng says it's Hyuya's turn. He's asking if you can take down the other 6 rival girls. Hyu confidently accepts. Talking about easy? Especially since our handsome big sister is extra motivated to fight the seniors. Hyu is keeping his word. He closes out matches easily. He takes the remaining 6 girls out of the ring one by one. With the girls eliminated, the first male student from the sophomore class steps into the ring with a threatening stride. He strikes a scary pose and asks Hyu, "Ready to die?" He says his opponent Hyuta is rude. She knows him as the student who's a bully in the canteen. He says it's an easy win and sees an opportunity for revenge. Yeah, your self-confidence is a total disaster because the bully attacks your face like lightning before you can even react. Man, that's like a massive punch to the gut. Look at you, kneeling as if you're in shock. The bully mocks his weakness and tells him to give up. You're so furious that you try to throw a punch, but your opponent dodges it so easily. Then he doesn't let go of that spot with a quick kick. He knocks you out of the ring, and you're lying on the ground defeated. With pain, you realize your opponent's strength wasn't among the lowest in the class. You curse yourself, especially when you let your guard down. After being defeated, our bully turns toward Linzikin. Standing by the side of the ring, he sarcastically asks if I still want to step in, then he challenges me to a fight. Linzikin leaps gracefully into the ring. While thinking to yourself, I've been waiting for this chance, your classmates shout with excitement. They're supporting the Chin brothers. He will crush his opponent and avenge Hyun's humiliation. The match starts, and the bully Chi Wei attacks Linzikin with a massive kick. But Linzikin isn't shaking. The kick hits his hand, then he catches Chi Wei's leg and slams his head to the ground. With such violence that Chi Wei faints. Linzikin hovers over him for a moment, then wobbles and kicks the unconscious body right out of the ring. The sophomores are left in total shock. Someone reminds them that Xu Yuyan is one of the top 5 fighters in the class. But the man was knocked down instantly. They can't wrap their heads around how a low tier could be as powerful as a monster. Watching from the sidelines, teacher Yao Yuan Feng thinks Lin Zik is actually hiding his full power. Lu Gong and Wang Shuoji look equally terrified. They're thinking long and hard about whether he's even human. Lindsay's returning to the other second-rate boys. And he calmly asks, is there anyone next? Their faces shrivel with fear as they're humiliated. A result is reached 30 minutes later. 29 failed students from the second grade are lying defeated on the ground. Linziken is staying on the last opponent. He thinks about his journey to success, where only the best survive. The system's reporting it to him. It shows the total number of opponents as 119. It pales in comparison to the target of 1,000 people. He looks at the score in disbelief. Progress is too slow. He thinks she's the last one to fight in every class match. And he decides that this slowness cannot continue. He realizes his power has already far surpassed high school level. And now, there's no point in following the rules. He intends to make his own rules. The following Monday, a shocking scream erupts from the principal's office. The principal of Shanghai High School can't believe Linziken. He's asking if you really want a personal reward challenge. Linziken approves your request. He says he boldly wants to challenge the entire school. The principal of Xian High School puts his hand to his forehead in his office. Linziken asks in shock if he really wants to challenge the entire student body as a freshman. He confirms his intention and invites her to the gym. He says he'll prove he has the power needed. Then they arrive at the empty gym. The manager crosses his arms and asks why he brought him here at this hour. As he takes off his jacket, he says his intent is to show off his physique and reveal his true strength with confidence. The manager is momentarily stunned, but he misreads her intentions and tries to take precautions. Then Linziken goes and grabs a heavy barbell. He stands there in shock. He lifts the massive 700-kilogram barbell with one hand and holds it effortlessly. The manager freezes in shock. He finally understands what she really means. Even in his first year, Linz noticed that the guy's power had already far surpassed the school legend, Wu Tiancheng. The principal is fully convinced and gives him a giant thumbs up. He accepts Linziken's request and promises to organize an event to challenge the entire school. With a shy grin, he says we need to set a reward. Otherwise, no one would want to take this challenge. No money, no motivation anyway. Then he shows off his wit and explains this clever plan of his. There will be 2 types of awards. One is so that everyone feels encouraged to join. The other is a significantly increased prize pool. Whoever loses takes the whole pool. If no one wins by the time runs out, the money will all be his. The principal smiles curiously and accepts. Linziken makes one last request. He said, we should hide your true power for now, or you'd scare the students. The manager slaps him on the shoulder and says, fine. Later, he shows the final version of the plan to Linziken in his room. And he agrees, saying it's super. Thank you for your hard work. During this conversation, Professors Yao Yuanfeng and Lu Diren pass by and can't believe what they see. The manager's rare cheerful mood toward Linziken confuses them. Asking what's going on, Yao Yuanfeng wonders to himself how the manager, usually so sour-faced, is now all smiles and spilling secrets. At exactly 2 p.m., all the school students gather in the large gymnasium. In the middle stand 2 giant fighting rings along with Linziken and the director, of course. The principal reaches for the mic and begins the announcement. Introduces Linziken. It describes their recent victories. He details the rules and rewards of his own personal challenge. This announcement would be a disaster. The crowd is in disbelief and mocks him. Many shout that the manager has lost his mind. The overconfidence of a freshman is considered an insult. The youngsters keep talking back to her. One of them angrily says that beating the weakest sophomore doesn't mean you become a junior. The other will burst with envy because she's so stuck up. Linziken calmly delivers his demonstration in front of the hostile crowd. He announces he'll be at the gym for 2 hours every afternoon starting tomorrow, open to anyone who challenges him. Deep down, he's happy with this annoying anger, because having so many challenges increases the chance of finishing the survival mission early. The scene shifts to a crowded city street at night. A young blonde man walks alone, sipping his drink. As he walks, 2 attractive girls suddenly step in front of him and invite him to a bar. The blonde man looks with a cold expression and says clearly, "Get out of here!" The girls say as they leave, "The guy has no charisma at all." The young man glares angrily at the girls' backs. He wonders to himself if Shanghai was always this mechanical. This young blonde is the rat god cult's latest recruit, and he's struggling with his first mission. She looks at people and complains that she's been searching for days, but hasn't found a single man worthy of presenting. He gets anxious, envisions the cult leader, and thinks about how he'll look if he fails. Afraid of being left out, She thought about kidnapping a male celebrity, but realized she couldn't pull it off because his security team surrounded him. Walking, the pressure mounts, time is running out, and he climbs in desperation. As he walks lost in thought, Lin Zichen dashes past him in a tank top and shorts. The blonde man turns his head, and his eyes widen in shock. She is instantly struck by Lin Zichen's looks, thinking she finally found the exceptionally handsome man she sought. Her goal is set. The blonde cultist watches Lin Zichen run, eyes locked on the target. Lost in thought, Lin Zichen dashes past in a tank top and shorts. The blonde man turns, his eyes widening. She falls for Lin Zichen's looks instantly, thinking she's finally found someone incredibly handsome. He hit his target, that's it. The blonde cultist watches Lin Zichen running in admiration. After searching so long and finally catching the perfect victim without any effort, he's feeling like he's sitting in total victory. A huge, sneaky, dirty smile appears on his face, and he approves the decision. Lin Zichen will be the victim. He's starting to go after him. Seeing Lin Zichen turn into a desolate industrial alley, a sinister grin spreads across the thug's face in this secluded place. "All right, now's the time," he says, releasing his power and undergoing a hideous transformation with the energy he's gathered. It turns its body into a nightmare monster filled with giant teeth. But just as he's about to attack, a brick suddenly drops from the sky, slamming hard onto his head with a bloody, sickening thud. The transformed creature stumbles, clutching its head, trembling in pain and confusion. Lin Zichen, who threw the brick, calmly emerges from the shadows. "I went for a run and stumbled upon a mouse cemetery." Just her luck, she's celebrating because she got an unlocked point for her guidebook. The monster is shaking with fear. He doesn't understand a single damn thing this guy is saying. She thinks the misfortune of her life is that this man is the most terrifying creature she's ever met. Before it can recover further, the creature collapses and turns to ash. Lin Zichen looks on in shock, unable to believe he just killed this creature with a single brick. The mouse god thinks, "Can a psych ward psychic really be this pathetic?" Wasting no time, he crouches by the dead creature, hurrying before anyone arrives to ensure he claims its life essence. The system notification pops up just like that. It says the giant mutant rat swallowed crumbs of life essence, increasing the guidebook progress to 8%. They see the result and lose interest. It's like it only went up by 1%. He wonders if it's because of this frail life essence that this mouse thinks his computer is so weak. Thinking of his own life, he's putting off night conditions for a while, because he knows not everyone is this helpless. Some of Halton's lackeys gain such powerful bodies after the transformation that they can even withstand bullets. The next morning, Lin Zai is shocked when she turns on the TV at home, because at 3 a.m., the Municipal Public Security Bureau and a chemistry lecturer from Shanghai University teamed up to destroy the rat god cult. The news says that professor is a high-level gene fuser and tells how he defeated the massive rat king alone. The broadcast shows the giant multi-eyed monster's sharp spikes terrorizing the red-haired winged gene fuser. Fuser hangs on but wins in the end. In that battle ending in just 30 seconds, the rat king collapses and victory is firmly seized. Watching the screen, Lin Zai looks grim, lost in deep thought. They wonder in awe if this power is the style of true high-level beings. In a fully modern, brightly lit room, two men in tactical gear are talking. The blue-haired man took a sip from his glass, looking at the spiky orange-haired Tian Chung. "Were you able to contact the teacher?" they asked. Tian Chung says still no news. Adding to this, the powerful team sent to clear the chaos is still missing. The blue-haired man asks about the current state of the area. Tian Chung says calmly the situation's stable, or we wouldn't be here cleaning up the runaways. The blue-haired guy is a bit tough, questioning his every word. The blue-haired man weighs the Rat King's immense power in his head and vibes to it. A monster that leaves everyone feeling hopeless. He destroyed the Public Security Bureau. But then she realizes that next to this brilliant genius Tian Chung, that terrifying Rat King is actually just a tiny cricket. Changing the subject, the blue-haired lad playfully puts his arm around Tian Cheng's shoulder. They say since you're already here, why not stop by our old school and give a lecture? Tian Chung is resisting, saying, "I'm not an idle man, I've got things to do, look." The blue-haired man stubbornly insists on feeding our hairy children a dose of ideological supplement as if it's an appetite. Deep in a dark cave under the moonlight, it turns out that Mouse King Wution has survived his battle with Chum Lu. The monster explains his recent activities. First he ate the beggars, then he snatched the youths for his belly. Now he kneels and surrenders. Because he finally got a taste for spoiled elites. The Mouse King is not alone. A new, much more terrifying creature appears as if bowing before you. A huge green-skinned beast with glowing red eyes and massive strength. The new monster angrily scolds the Mouse King, saying he worked so hard to bring him here so his clan could dig tunnels, but the Mouse King disgraced them by eating humans instead, thus drawing unwanted attention. The giant creature asks the Mouse King if he has faced death. He looks at him mockingly, as if questioning whether his failure was deserved. Trembling with fear, the Mouse King begs his master for one more chance. The giant creature considers this plea and accepts it. But it also clarifies he'll tighten the rope. Without a word, he strikes the Mouse King with his claw, splashing blood everywhere. Deep in the cave, the green giant keeps punishing the Rat King, having already taken one of his eyes. Holding the bloody red eyeball, he says that even though sewer rat eyes smell bad, they taste amazing. Then he admires the cleverness of capturing the cowardly Mouse King, hiding him, and setting up a decoy to take his place and ensure his defeat. This means the creature Wu Tianqing fought was nothing more than a charade. But finally, he gives a chilling warning. If the mole rat doesn't do its job and dig tunnels, it means death. Meanwhile, at Shanghai High School, the day of Lin Zika's personal challenge has finally arrived. Whispers in his ears as he walks to the gym, students point him out as the arrogant freshman who dared to challenge the whole school. Lin Zika's head is buried in his phone, checking a notice for 9 fugitives from the Mouse God cult, noting a 500,000 yuan reward for their capture. He sees them as walking fortunes, but the reality is clear. If he runs into someone, his own safety comes first. The reward comes later, he tells himself. When he gets to the gym, he finds the ring surrounded by students, just as he hoped. Looking at the crowd, he understands this turnout is not just about the challenge, but also the prize ticket, the final piece of his plan. Shen Sinan is shouting through a megaphone, saying there are raffle tickets for everyone, and to try your luck for the grand prizes. This statement drops a bombshell. The male students burst into cheers of excitement. They talk about great prizes like the latest game consoles and smartphones, but one kid is more interested in the chance to hold Shinsinga's hand during the draw. That kid rushes forward eagerly, about to speak up and be the first volunteer, when a schoolgirl skips right past him, steps on his head, and shouts, "I'm going first!" Right after that, all hell breaks loose. The girls block his path, while the boys get shoved aside as everyone fights for a chance to spar with Lin Zichan. Soon, the arena is swarming with a huge army of girls surrounding Lin Zichan, all excitedly shouting that they want to challenge him. But the challenge soon turns into his girlfriends clinging to him. One girl grabs his arm and shouts, "Oh my God, you're so strong," while another strokes his face and swoons, "You're so handsome." Completely surrounded, Lin Zichan thinks this situation has gotten very strange. Although he doesn't want to fight the girls, he pulls himself together, realizing there's no other way to complete his achievement. Combining her strength with gentle yet firm pushes, she flings the girls out of the arena one by one. Finally, he blasts an energy wave, blowing them all away and clearing the space with an apology. When the chaos subsides, Lin Zichan checks his system. A notification pops up. Survival success has progressed toward the goal of 309 out of 1,000. Despite getting beaten, the girls won't give up. A girl with pink hair immediately raises her hand and shouts, "So we can fight again." But Lin Zichan, cold and firm, says anyone defeated by the rules cannot challenge again. The girls are upset, one's muttering that the rule is unfair. A huge, muscular student and his gang members step forward. Their leader cracks his knuckles in anger. Now he's throwing threats that it's our turn to teach this arrogant little man a lesson. But that's a pointless move. Lin Zichan easily deflects the opponent's rapid punches. The system is increasing the survival quota to 1,000 targets in 419. Coming soon. The unconscious student stands atop the mountain in a victory pose and asks calmly, "Who's next?" Right then, a much tougher opponent emerges. I'm still here, yelling that I'm ready to fight. Hopping into the arena. The other students immediately recognize Yin Xiaoxian as the overlord of the second-year heartthrobs. They're whispering, wondering who's going to win. The consensus is Yin Xiaoshua's mastery, because he once brought the entire class to their knees all by himself. But finally, one of the third-grade teachers put him in his place. Yin Xiaoshuan enters the arena. Linzikin. They say you used to be as arrogant as he is. But it shows she's learned a lesson. He learned there's always someone stronger. Then he talks down to him at length, offering to give Linzikin a life lesson. Linzikin swaying the speech. He turns to the teacher and asks if we can start. The surprised teacher starts the match immediately, before Yin Xiaoshuan even had a chance to give advice. Linzikin sends him flying across the arena with a single devastating kick. As Yin Xiaoshuan hits the far wall, Linzikin relaxes and sticks her finger in her ear. Now he's commenting that there's silence. The students just freeze. They cry out in shock, asking how the school's famous overlord could be defeated like this, and just how strong Linzikin really is. The stunned silence is broken by long, slow applause. A new rival, a muscular student with spiky red hair, moving through the crowd. Students immediately recognize Chen Wuxing as the school's #1. They're bursting with excitement, thinking the real show is about to start. Linzikin is watching the newcomer. The young one thinks that when he's defeated, the elder will come. Chen Wuxing steps into the arena with a confident smirk. Yin Chao says he didn't expect Xuan to be defeated by a lower-grade student. But just as she's about to start her speech, Linzikin cuts her off again. He turns to the teacher and says, "Let's start." Even though Chen Wuxing objects, the teacher starts the match. Annoyed at being ignored, Chen Wuxing charges in a blue aura, declaring that to shut him up, he'll have to beat him first. Linzikin strikes back, his fist glowing with a yellow aura. Their powerful blows collide with a massive shockwave. While Chen Wuxing apologizes, Linzikin just says he's being impetuous and throws a massive punch. This blow is too much for Chen Wuxing. It sends the man flying backward. With his shirt torn and a look of total shock on his face, he asks how this could be. All the students freeze, jaws dropped, watching the school's strongest fighter get defeated in an instant. With the strongest defeated, Linzikin turns back to the shocked crowd. He points at a random student and tells them to get in the ring. The student, unable to believe it, shows it. Linzikin agrees because they haven't fought yet. The student fearfully asks for him to be gentle, but Linzikin smilingly reminds her that joining in will earn her a raffle ticket. The motivated student jumps straight into the ring. Linzikin promises she'll like it, but that promise doesn't last long. With one punch, he knocks the student hard to the ground. The system notification says your survival progress 4. Survival of the fittest, increased by 1. Seeing this, the other students realize that losing to such overwhelming power is no shame, and they still have a chance to win the raffle prizes. Hoping for a new phone, the crowd surges forward in excitement. After that, effortless and systematic victories begin for Linzikin. He easily overcomes every challenger. The system counters increase with each one eaten. When the last student falls, a massive system notification appears. It announces mission complete after eliminating 1,000 different opponents. Right after, it's reported that the new biological trait grants survival to the strongest. Linzikin clenches his fist with a look of pure victory, happily enjoying the reward of his hard work. Once the mission ends, the system details Lin Zichen's new reward. The strongest has gained a survival trait. It increases the damage dealt to others. Scratching his chin, he says it's a simple and practical damage-boosting skill. But he's slightly bothered that the system doesn't show the increment amount. Having achieved his goal, Linzikin jumps off the ring and declares the challenge over. The girls are disappointed, complaining that it ended too quickly and they wanted to watch more. Without wasting a moment, Lin Zichen takes Shinsingen's hand, weaves through the crowd, and they quickly exit the emptying gym. Then a hearty laugh is heard from the principal's office. Inside, the principal of Shanghai High School sits at his desk, congratulating Lin Zichen on being the school's #1 fighter. She leans in and asks playfully, "Since you beat Chen Wuxing instantly, you must be hiding your true strength." Sitting on the sofa with Shin Kingen, Linziken sips his drink and says humbly that he's keeping some for later. The principal looks at him with disbelief and mentions Chen Wuxing's recent Kyoto University entrance exam, saying he lifted a 69 kilograms barbell with one hand. Compared to this, she thinks Lin Zichen's single-hand lift must be 800 kilos, knowing deep down that he shouldn't learn of her much higher true power. He agrees with what she says immediately. He says your guess was almost spot on. And according to official data, he made a lift of exactly 795 kilograms. The manager laughs, celebrating his victory. Like, I told you so. Linziken is trying to get attention right away. Once declared the school's strongest gang leader, he immediately returns to his true priority. Her eyes light up, she raises her hand and asks, when will you award the 8810 United Nations prize money? His hunger for money amuses the manager. The manager mockingly calls him a little rascal, approves it, and sends the money instantly. Just as he starts talking about the new duties, Linziken interrupts and asks if there's anything else he can do. Then he drops a special request. Since both he and Shin Qing-han enjoy swimming, he's asking for permission to use the gym pool. He makes it clear that he and Shin Qing-han will use the pool alone, while everyone else stays at the door. The manager smiles and approves immediately. He's wondering what happened to him, how he gave in so quickly. Linziken adds one more condition. He says he hates being watched in swim trunks, and they'll turn off the security cameras. This remark makes Shin Qing-hwan flare up, like his beard's on fire. The manager's mind immediately drifts into hidden fantasies, like, is this boy gonna be alone with a girl?